certainly expand your comfort zone. So let's say you're doing breath holding. I don't know if you're doing that, but just as a great example, increase your time, your breath hold time, with about 10 to 15 seconds, right? Maybe a week. So let's say you can do a 1 minute and 30 breath hold. Then the next week, aim for 140 or 145, okay? And then if you feel great after a few weeks, try to set a new goal, maybe 2 minutes. So yeah, that is expanding your comfort zone. But the whole idea with the breathology training, and why I always mention baby steps, is that if you go too fast and want too much too quickly, then you push your nervous system in a way that's not healthy. You stress your system, and that's the last thing you want. So you want to wake up your system. You want to get the nervous system on its toes. And that's what I'm a big believer in, that we as human beings, to grow in the mind, in the body, in the spirit, we really need to get a little push, a little gentle, loving push. But it should have not, of course, not be too much, so that you're actually damaging your nervous system and shocking it. So when you ask for advice, I would say follow the program that you have, put in exercises, and I would recommend highly that you maybe take some exercises from your other sports. If you do tennis or running or swimming or ballet, martial arts, put in a few of those exercises. And maybe even better, find a few exercises from your childhood. You know, maybe you did gymnastics, maybe you did horseback riding. Put in a few of those exercises that were fun and natural at that time. So stretching exercises, could be some cardio, it could be some balance exercises, right? So put in those exercises where they feel natural in your program. And this is where you become the expert, right? I'm just guiding, but put them in where they feel natural. So after you have done some breath work, maybe you can do some stretching, right? You're already warm in the chest, you're using your shoulders, then it's convenient to start to do some stretching. If you want to do some cardio or some of those exercises, some sprints, some running, maybe do that after the heavy breathing, but before the relaxation in the end. So before you do the gratitude and close down the session. So at the end of phase 2 or phase 3, before you go into the last phase, closing down. So follow the framework as you're doing. Put in some exercises that push you. And in breathology, we talk about a push method. So that is getting a little bit outside of your comfort zone, all right? So you're saying you're not an athlete, but you know you're still working and doing all this great training. So you don't need to be a professional athlete to do this, to grow and to gain a lot of benefits from this. So if you put too high goals or ambitions, the risk is that you will never reach them. So let's say you want to be the fastest woman runner in the world. That is maybe a little bit too high of an ambition, because it is maybe possible, but depending on your age and your body type, it might never work out. So that would be a dream that is too big, and it would only give you kind of a disillusion. But putting big goals and seeing the goals every week is great. So maybe you want to hold your breath longer, or run a little bit longer, or maybe do a marathon. If that's a big goal for you, then you start by running 5K. Then after a few weeks or a month, you can run 10K, which is pretty good. And then after a few months more, you can maybe run a half marathon, right? So that's what I mean. So in breathology, when we talk about the push method, there's both a hard way and a more soft approach. And the hard one is, of course, what I use for military, Navy SEALs, top athletes. They know that they need to be pushed way out of the comfort zone, because they are used to that in their training, in their sport. They can endure pain. They can endure not eating for days. They can endure not having enough sleep. But that might not be the same in rehabilitation. So when we use the breathology method for rehabilitation or for everyday personal growth, it's more of the soft approach.